you guys, welcome to Mahogany Sweets. Hit the like and subscribe button if you would like to. I wanted to come and talk to you guys about Andy Cohen versus the Samuels. How he chose to handle the first, second, and third part of the reunion where it relates to the Samuels. So a lot of people was dragging Andy for his behavior, tone, demeanor and remarks towards the Samuels. And I actually kind of see it a little tad bit differently than you guys. I totally understand your point about um, how y'all feel about, let's say, disrespect, him trying to count pockets, him having having an elitist mindset and verbiage. But what I look at is I think that Bravo, the producers, because Andy actually does not make the decision on who comes, who stays, and who goes by himself. It is a collective that do that. And I think that they had all decided they wanted to keep Monique, or at least it was still on the table at a minimum to keep Monique. So what he was looking for, as far as him wanting Monique to gravel, to beg, to be humble and everything. He was looking for that due to the fact if they had to handle this situation very carefully when you have Candace, because they wanted to appease her too, who literally wants this girl fired. She wanted charges pressed against her, like not even just fired. She wanted money from her, not even just fired, but her last thing was like, okay, I'm sure she should definitely and can be fired, which is the other reason why Candace had the theatrics up, right? With the crying, I'm seeing a doctor now, I'm taking medications, I got post-it notes and all of this trauma. So I think that they were looking at like, well, we want to bring this girl back, if but we have to appease the fans since we are supposedly don't condone violence, don't consent to it. We have to coddle Candace. But to me, if y'all paid attention during the three-part reunion, it was parts in there where I sensed personally that Andy was kind of annoyed and over Candace theatrics concerning all of this, but also needed to play into I'm going to come down hard on Monique so the viewers, the advertisers, the network, Candace and them can't not fault us or say that we condone violence or don't care. If they would have immediately pushed them back into a room together, into a scene together, if they would have been like, not even came down hard on her and gave her a contract for a next season, they would have caught hell. Networks would have drawn out because the hell that people would have put on them for not dealing with her appropriately concerning this, not caring about Candace's well-being. Advertisers would have pulled out their what do you call them? Well, I'm gonna just call them advertisers, but those people would have pulled out. Fans would have been like, let's boycott Bravo and all of that. So they had to try and handle this correctly to make it appear that they were totally against Monique in a sense, right? Because that's one of the things I was looking at. Like, as messy as Bravo is, and as messy as Ashley is, I was shocked that they didn't fly them ladies out there and then the next morning have Monique coming in. Because it ain't like them girls about to hop back on a flight and leave. They already there. They would have just dealt with it, you know. That's what I personally was thinking. But then they probably looked at it like that'd be distasteful since Candace is on these theatrics. Then I looked at the fact with when the time it got to Karen's event, by that time Bravo was over it and was like, we ain't gave this girl enough time. We ain't been having Monique on like this, so we are doing our part to punish her. Let's have her here and y'all get this shit over with. Bravo had came to that place, but somewhere Candidate and her team, as well as with Bravo team, they all sat down, thought about it, like, you know what, that might not be a good idea. We don't know how that will play well. You know, Karen probably looked at it like, y'all ain't about to throw me under the bus. But she kind of still ended up under the bus. So they didn't go through with it. Well, I think that's why Andy was coming down on Monique. But I do believe he was over Candace. And then you have to look at the fact we know Bravo don't really give a fuck about physical violence to a degree, because this is not the first time or the first franchise where women have gotten physically violent or verbally abusive. This is just the first time where a victim of it has drawn it out so far. So Bravo hands were kind of tied in how they needed to come at this situation. You get what I'm saying? When Let's think. When you look at the Real Housewives of New Jersey franchise, it was not drawn out. Even when I think like Ziggy pulled Danielle hair, slapped her, or some throwing drinks. What's that girl name? Teresa pushing Andy, chasing, trying to fight somebody, flipping tables and all that. No one had drawn it out or made a big deal about it. They talked about it that one episode and it was done. When you look at the Orange County, I believe there's like a drink thrown in that and a slap and all that. When earlier in like the first two seasons with what's the woman name? I think like Jen or something, and Tamara. No one drew it out. I don't even think they even brought that up or discussed it on the episode. No one cared. The New York Housewives, like in these other franchises, the people who are getting in these scuffles, they are not drawing it out. They ain't calling police. They ain't trying to sue. They're not even bringing it up in the next episode. Andy, of course, did not care about being pushed by Teresa. So that's why that didn't go anywhere. As far as he concerned, this bitch is good ratings and oh, she's strong. He didn't care about that. And she was one of his number one star players. So of course he wasn't gonna go and be like, I have a problem with her. I think even if it was a cast member who he don't really like, I don't think he would have even made a big deal out of it. So you have to look at personality types too. The reason why it was never this big of an issue on other ones because the cast members didn't make it one. So Andy and the networks wasn't gonna make it one. As far as they're concerned, it's good for TV. Just with this situation, Candace put on the theatrics and played the broken damsel, the traumatized child, waterworks. I can't mentally or emotionally handle this. So, in order to protect themselves, not only from backlash from the public, from advertisers and sponsors and stuff, but to protect themselves from Candace being able to hold them liable, they like, let's try and play this right. Let's ostracize Monique to give her at least that win. Let's seem like we're coming down on her and condemn the violence. So I look at it more like that than look at it as Andy was on this hate train for Monique. Now, where I do feel Andy was on a hate train for Monique and the Samuels is the fact that Andy, number one, is a rainbow under the rainbow umbrella on top of being a white male. He has a lot of privilege. He has an elitist, superior mindset because that is the way the system is set up and the way society has treated him because of that system. So I believe he was taken aback at Monique. And I do believe he wanted Monique to grovel, to be humble. But I don't think it was personally for him. I think he was looking at it like, give me something, please. This girl has been pitting on a performance for a year now. Please give me something that will make the viewers and sponsors feel like it's safe and okay to have her back. We will accept her apology. So I think Andy was more so trying to draw and lean into that and was just getting upset at the fact that Monique would not just be like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I even said in one of my other videos, like, Monique should have played chess and did exactly that. Now, luckily, come to find out, she didn't need to because they still offer her a contract. But I was thinking, like, just on the sense of sticking it to Candace, like, you want to play the. Sorry, I got an auntie named Candy and I call her Candy, so I keep calling Candace Candy. Um, like, you want to play these theatrics, Monique should have hit her and beat her at her own game, the same way Nicki Minaj did with Cardi. Oh, since you want sympathy and playing a victim, let me flip that on you. And now I'm about to play victim. Now she kind of did get into her bag when she like my childhood trauma with with her father pumping her in the head. You are actually someone who I could defend to stand myself up to. I was triggered with everything that was going on and stuff. So she did kind of get into that bag. But that's what Andy was trying to pull out of her. And that's why he kept saying, like, your response, your emotions. Like, this girl is over here running off stages and crying, and you ain't giving me nothing. You shut down, you dead. We need something to be able to justify why we want you back, and why we're going to forgive your offense. So I more so looked at all of that like that. Now that's Andy being the bad guy. Now where Andy did fall into a problem at, and where I do think he got triggered and had a vendetta, was when Monique stated and let him know, me and my family don't need this check. It's the smallest check that's even coming into our household. And I think that that threw him off. Like, what? Because he is used to being on his high horse and these people needing him, his paycheck, that platform, because a lot of them, they need it desperately. They want it desperately. It's the biggest check that they get. So I think part of him just look at it like, okay, not even so much you screwing dissing these other women who do need me and my checks, but he took it as an offense and this to him, like, oh, I'm not the man, I'm not saving you. Because then he wanted to bring up, the stereotype and the brainwashing society has, especially about football players, black men, and business not being business savvy and stuff. So it's like he did, I think, a bit of, not the R word. I'm not gonna say that. I don't. Ideology, white supremacist ideologies did play a part in that, because he was shocked and thrown aback that, oh, her husband has financial literacy and they not scraping for change and need this platform. And then I think he also looked at it as this, like, other women or other people might look at it like, or like, oh, she's saying that check small as heck, right? I don't need that crap either. So I'm on here like Sharice. Sharice, for example, did not need the check, but Sharice never came at him with that energy. She wanted the platform. I think she wanted something to do. I think she wanted, her marriage was falling apart. I think she wanted the attention from her husband. Some people are trying to get businesses off the ground, so it's a great platform for that. Some people just want to be famous and stuff. So for whatever reason, everyone who come on his show don't need to check, but they do need something else, that such as like the fame or the platform or something, where they literally will kiss his ass and he has some better balls, right? So I think that that threw him off, to find out or realize that this woman is telling him, like, dude, I really don't need nothing for you. I really don't care to even be here anymore, let alone need to be. And I think that that's when he got offended, and that's when he got triggered, because then he up to my, no, you talking about the money he used to make, because he ain't making that now. She like, no, my man, very business savvy, yeah, very business savvy. His portfolio is tremendous, so she wouldn't bow on that, and I appreciate her for that, to stand up and put him in his place, to let him know, like, everybody coming here, and definitely every black woman coming here, don't need you like that. Ain't about to go out bold like that or bow at your feet and stuff like that. So I think that that's when he did get offended and upset, and he did turn to where he wanted to dig in her, and it now had nothing to do with him trying to politic, but had everything to do with him being in his personal feelings about it, right? And then I look at the fact that by the time her husband come out and he like, I want to discuss this, Andy, like, we ain't already talked about that for 2 hours. Like, we're not going back there. Like, oh, well, this man has not had his chance to say his part to these ladies about what happened, or to the viewers about what happened. And Andy kept talking about, now they saying that this happens at Andy's baby shower. Then it went to happen after Andy baby shower, they had left. So that told me then, like, if initially when y'all were talking about this, at least when Candace was talking about it, because Candace had already spilled the beans on what was up, even though she's trying to switch it up now. That tells me that Andy told them to reword that, not on his watch, at his crib, which makes me think that he did have some involvement with it and he did know about it. And I think that after it was made aware that the Samuels knew and that came out, they decided then not to air the footage, except the one green room with, what's not green room, but yeah, green, the personal interview with Giselle, when Giselle mentioned it, because the producers, you know what I'm saying, the editing crew came and put in what they called unseen footage of Giselle talking inside that furniture store that she ain't had no business in, since she don't know how to shop. But inside the furniture store, talking to Robin about the whole thing, right? So that tells me it had plotted. They all knew, but for some reason or somewhere, they decided to back out and not put the footage, or the majority of the footage, out there. And then, since, because Andy kept wanting to stick with, but it did make it to TV, We didn't see that on TV though. There was no plot. It didn't make it to TV. All that told me, Andy, you're guilty. You were a part of it. Has something to do with it. And at a minimum, now that you have are upset with the SAMUs, especially Monique for not bowing, for not giving into what you feel she should have, politicking, and then what you feel she should have with you being the one who signs her checks, you wanted to dig into her for that. And that's why you flipped the script. Oh, it was no plot. It didn't make it to TV, and telling her husband you don't want to talk about it no more. What happened? We all done talked about it for 2 hours. And all of them women played in denial along with Andy. They always in on the plot. Candace, they wanted to ignore. I wish the producers would have paid on what she said, because she stated out her own mouth that it was a plot, that they all discussed it. And it was at Andy's actual baby shower, not at no dinner after they left there. So that tells you it's even a bigger cover up with Andy, that he made them redirected to somewhere else, not at his baby shower. Um, because if you don't think that they ain't talking with producers and producers is not helping them out with storylines and stuff like that, then go watch some more reality TV shows. A lot of them will tell you that no producers actually set a lot of that stuff up, or that they go and they interview with the producer, and the producer like, well, what is your storyline gonna be? If the producers don't like it, they be like, here, let's go in this direction. Put them in rooms with people who they know they beefing with, like, here, go and confront them about this or that. They even tell them and show them footage behind the scenes of what other cast members have said and done, to egg them on and to plant seeds in their mind of, what would you call it, animosity against other cast members and all that. So I believe Andy knew about it. Andy did turn around though and say, like, before he came out, or was it after, he did say like, yeah, I have a son, and if somebody did that to me, I'll be upset. But I was thinking, like, everybody know that you and your man, or the wife, I don't know which one he Andy is or the other one is, but like, every I was just confused about how he looked at that. But because I don't know if they child was adopted, or if it just has one of their DNA in it with, a egg donor or something. But that was confusing to me that he said that. But then it looked at it like he was trying to insinuate, like, I'm on your side. I agree. I would be pissed if that happened to me. But Andy, I still think, I'm not trying to be like a white apologist or anything. It's just that to me, everything didn't look so black and white with what Andy moves were doing the thing. But yes, of course he has a superiority complex. Of course he has white supremacist ideologies, and of course he has privilege, which make him think he has the right to do it. Because the other thing y'all got to look at, it's like with Michael. If you pay attention, Andy ain't really ever came down on Michael for his sexual harassment and sexual assault of his crew, basically, because those producers and stuff like that, film directors, they work for Andy too, and it's his job to protect them. He ain't really been caring for that. And like Candace has stated, concerning one of the latest producer that this man done, Michael Darby done sexually, put his hands on, she was like, he want to keep his job. So my first mind is going, he don't work for Michael Darby. Him coming out with these allegations against Darby would not affect or harm his job. But then that's when I remembered, Michael Darby and Andy Cohen are the exact same person, just with a 20-year age gap, 20-year age difference. But they are the same person. Rainbow umbrella, white privileged men. And it's been stories about Andy Cohen doing those same type of antics, where they feel they have the right to proposition whoever they want, say whatever they want to people in their sexual nature, and put their hands on them. So the reason why Andy ain't coming so down on Michael about that, because he does the exact same thing and don't see nothing wrong with it. Okay, y'all need to peep those teas. Y'all need to peep those teas. Yeah, he had asked him about it and all that, but Andy, they protect their own until they own piss them off or whatever. That's why Michael Darby would still be allowed on the show, and why that producer would feel like, or whoever he was, film crew, would feel like, I can't go to my actual boss and report this or make a big deal out of it, because he does the same thing and might fire me for trying to come against someone that's just like him, or against one of their own, right? So that was the other thing I was looking at with Candace. Like, okay, Candace feeling, a bit of tea. I wonder how Andy gonna feel about that. They dragging this man who is essentially just the older version of Andy, and she's making it known that it is messy, like that company Bravo Network, them people heading that, and Andy are not creating a safe or protected work environment. If she would tell us that he was scared he was gonna lose his job, they're not Bravo ain't protecting they people. But anyway, um, what else was I about to say? So So I understand exactly what y'all saying, and I do believe it's a lot of that actually is going on. But I also at the same time believe that there was other things that made it what it was. And tell me what y'all think about it. If y'all agree with me or not. Because like I said, I do agree with y'all, but I just think it's a more to it than just that. I think it's just a culmination of all of those things. And then like people were mentioning, he ain't asking the other women what they paychecks, what they money look like and stuff like that. Well, you got to think about it. Has it technically been situations where he needed to, where something arose that would make him ask that? Because no, you know what? I agree with y'all with that. I think it has been a couple others where he's talked to them about their checks, but I agree with y'all. But one of the things that they do say, if you pay attention to track record, is that Andy Cohen, anytime them women come up off his show and they go and purchase something big, he immediately turns around and demotes them or fires them to try and keep them in financial hardship. And that is definitely, to me, more troubling than anything else. You bring these women on claiming that you're going to offer them a paycheck, a sustainable um, payment for their services, such as giving you a hit show and all that. But the minute those women truly start benefiting off of it to where they can leave you or break you, gaining property and stuff like that, you want to make sure you keep them in financial ruin. Where before, let's say they was making less, but not on your show, but they weren't necessarily in debt. You turn around, they making these huge purchases off their income, their paycheck, and then you want to try and cut their legs right from under them. I don't like that shit. So Candace and her husband need to watch out because they made that purchase. Andy Cohen, from past experiences that we've seen with him and these women on these reality shows, he will turn around and fire them just because he don't want to see them come up. Their intent is not to truly give financial independence, to truly compensate them. As you see, he likes to keep them to where they need him and they coming back. He want to make them a big star in the sense of they bring viewers to his network. He don't want to make them a big star to where he truly has to pay them. They have financial independence and they can move on about their business if they truly want it and need it to. So I don't like they yeah, they need to get rid of Andy. I don't like Andy, but he's just a visible face that we can see. He ain't the only one who do that shit. Jobs do that shit. Um, Congress, the banks, the way shit is set up is for blacks to be in financial ruin and hardship and need. Let me pay you enough to where you keep coming, but not enough to where you don't need me anymore. That's what these jobs in this system is set up on. Capitalism. Um, and I think that's the other reason why he was not only shocked that Chris and Monique have overcome that plot that the system has in place, but he was also pissed that he can't make them or break them one way or the other with a contract. So I hear though that they did offer Monique another contract, and she said no, she's not coming. I'm hoping that she is just about to do a flip a rule, like drop draws. I'm hoping that she get them the impression of, oh, they got the victory. She's finally gone. She's out of there. They ain't got to see her anymore. But then she stuns them when next season starts back and she's filming. Like, oh, y'all thought y'all had power to get me out of here. Thought y'all had power to ruin this or mess this up. Sorry, y'all, with all this. I'm holding this tablet in my hand. It's a horrible quality, and that's because all my other stuff. I tried to use the new camcorder, ain't working. Tried to use my phone, no storage. Tried to use that one. It just was trash. So that's why I'm having to use this to get this video out. But yeah, so I'm hoping that she drop draws and do it like Jaws, and do it like that. Have everybody thinking she ain't coming back, and her and Bravo drop their faces when filming starts for next season. The other thing that we know is they not about to leave the show, and they gonna film with her if they make them, because they all do need this paycheck. If Candace and her husband just bought a new home, probably with her mom co-signing, if her mom didn't give any money, he probably used the sale of his restaurant as a down payment, and then her Bravo checks. That's what I'm saying. So they made this purchase, and I'm hoping that they will be able to sustain themselves minus Bravo, but they still need the money. It never hurts to have it. So I personally think that they're gonna be like, we're gonna film with her since we need to get paid. Bravo is the deciding factor in that, and I think that they just wanted to try and handle it in a class way to where everyone can be satisfied. They still got Monique, and the viewers still got Monique. Those who felt Monique should be penalized, and Candace, they got that. She was held to the fire for it, to the cross for it. She missed and was put out of episodes and filming for it. Um, so we'll see how that go. Tell me if y'all do know that Monique isn't coming back, because I technically still haven't seen or heard anything where she said that. I'm just hearing other bloggers saying that she was offered a contract and said she wasn't coming back. So tell me what you guys think about everything. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Good night.